All right, good morning, everyone. Top performers. And after just the first week, we've had some amazing results. And I thank you for being here this morning. And you're going to love this session. It's going to be eye-opening again. And I just heard back from a few of you just right now before we started, and that you guys are loving it. And that's just great. And if you have any questions at all, and like questions about the Joy Shop, or how your thoughts create your experience, that let me know. I'm here for you, and you have many ways to contact me, so feel free to do so. So I welcome you. This is our second webinar together, and just for planning purposes, that next week we will not meet, and next week is Labor Day, and so that means that you have 2 weeks now to really kind of catch up on things and kind of just let it all start sinking in. That what I've shared with you is some just remarkable information that can help you in some amazing ways that you might not have even understood yet. And I'm going to share with you, start out with sharing a couple stories with you that have happened. First of all, within our group, within 24 hours, I heard back from someone that had attracted already a referral partner and already got a lead. And so that's just awesome. By Friday, I heard from one of you that you had gotten a listing out of the blue listing. And really, as you just start being easy with yourself and start thinking about the things you want, not what you don't want. I don't have enough time, money, whatever, not enough business, but think about what you want, how you want it. As you do, you're going to start seeing just amazing things. The universe is playing on your behalf, if you will, gathering all your desires to you, for you, but you have to allow it in. And so again, one of our participants just said, yeah, that's what I want, a referral partner, got a referral partner, and then got a referral. And then another person said, yes, I want, just out of the blue, I want a listing. And it came from out of the blue. Like she said, she didn't have the name. There was no reason. It didn't know this person, no reason at all, but this person somehow found her. Well, that somehow is the universe working on your behalf. But a story I want to share with you that really touched me. In fact, we were in tears yesterday in my coaching class, that we come together as the inner circle, and so I want to share with you what this one of our participants shared with all of us, and it is that she took virtual top performers in January of this year. And I was wondering why she did virtual, because she lives in Dallas and she could have just come to the office. We once in a while do a live top performers in Dallas, and we do that at the Ultimate Real Estate office. And so I was wondering why. It was kind of unusual, but I didn't question it at all. And she signed up, and she's a real estate agent. And so I found out yesterday, she shared the following with us, that she actually was in an automobile accident last year, and it crushed her organs. And she was basically told by the doctors that she would be in a wheelchair the rest of her life. And she took top performers, and she just started thinking about her health. In fact, she was also told that she couldn't have children, and because of all of this car accident that she had, and she was literally in tears sharing this with us. And she took top performers, and she said that before then she was so low and so, what I call the pity party, but just feeling so bad. And she didn't realize it. She was just kind of in a daze, and she was just down there all in this, thinking about what she didn't want and her bad health and couldn't have children and couldn't walk again and all of these things that, remember, whatever you focus your thought on gets bigger and it grows. And so it just got worse and worse for her. So she was in this terrible depression, and she took Virtual Top Performers, and she decided about week like 3, she just decided, you know what? I'm not going to be thinking about these things that I don't want anymore. And she had no real estate business whatsoever, okay, because she, again, it couldn't go anywhere. And so she just decided that she was going to be happy, and she was going to start thinking about the things that she wants. So she is telling us this story in tears about her organs being damaged, about her being in a wheelchair for the rest of her life, and that through the power of God, and that through the power of her intention, though, to ask God and to call forth what she wanted. And she wanted good health. She wanted a thriving business. And so she walked in to, and she's been coaching with me ever since Virtual Top Performers, and she's been coming in, and I didn't know this. I mean, I knew that she was walking not real briskly, but she is walking. And here she was told she would be in a wheelchair the rest of her life. And that's the power that she has, but the power that you have also. Not only did she overcome these conditions and circumstances and her physical disabilities, she became to have physical abilities because she created it with her thought. And that she also, by the way, has closed in about the last 6 weeks 4 homes. And my other inner circle people, who are all $1 million agents now, or most of them, I think one isn't yet, that they're asking her about, hey, how are you getting all these listings? And so she's kind of the queen of listings, if you will. And here she was just 6 months ago in that condition. And so that's what Virtual Top Performers did for her, and that's what it's doing for you right now. Since you're on the phone right now, or you're listening to this right now on the recording, that means that you're getting it. It's starting to flow into you and into your mind, and just breathe in deeply. Just close your eyes for a moment. Breathe in deeply and just say, I'm getting this. I'm starting to understand how life works. I'm starting to understand that I create my experience with my thoughts. And those thoughts become an emotion, my feelings, and that transmits out to Source on what I want. And Source has that in, if you will, an emotional reality. All the things that you have asked for is there waiting for you. And you're going to learn, again, in these, as I'm going to show you on how you can allow that in. And all the things that you have asked for, how you can allow it in. But you're starting to do that. And, I've really already shared it with you, if you will. It is this in the Joy Shop, the importance of you in the Joy Shop every morning, just being real kind to yourself, real gentle, breathing deeply, and just reading the Joy Shop, getting into that good feeling place. It's a shortcut right to your sources. You feel good. That's your communication system with your sources, your feelings. When you're feeling bad, you're getting further away with your source. When you're feeling good, you're getting closer to your source. So with your Joy Shop, that in that Joy Shop, that is, you read that and then start writing down the things that you desire, the things that you like, the things that please you. When you start writing down what you appreciate in the last 24 hours, you don't realize on how many wonderful things are going to happen to you today. And more wonderful things are going to happen to you as you are feeling better, as you're being more deliberate, more intentional in your thought and thinking about what you want. And then finally, pre-paving your day the way you want it. So if you said that this virtual top performers today is going to be life-changing for you, that it's going to raise your vibration, it's going to raise your point of attraction, that it's going to help you to manifest all the things that you want, that you're going to be enlightened today, if you said those things and invested at least 1 minute in that subject, in thinking about how great this virtual top performers is, it will be so. That you will be literally guided to the perfect words as I'm being guided right now. So you're going to be guided to the perfect thoughts, perfect words, perfect feelings in order to have all your dreams come true. So again, I'm so proud of all you guys, and I wanted to share that story with you though, because it's like a remarkable story. Now, I'm going to share the end of that story is this dear leading edge creator is telling us a story, and she said that she was driving in the car. So this was yesterday, but she said, I was driving in the car this morning, and I was saying to myself, I am feeling so good, better than I ever have. And so how do I protect myself when I start not feeling so good? And guess what she did? She started creating not feeling so good. And so the point is that it's going to get better and better for you and better for her. And she realized, oh my gosh, we've taught to be guarded. We've taught that, oh, you're not in control, that things happen to you, etc. And the fact is that you're in control, and that if you just think about the things you want and not the things you don't want. So that example, the thing she wanted was to feel even better. But what she was saying is, oh, I have to guard myself for when I feel worse. And so she's setting herself up for feeling worse. And so it's a lesson for all of us I'm not going to go there. Now, the good news is that if you think of a thought less than a minute, it won't produce. You won't manifest it. So whenever you're thinking a thought that you don't want and you're feeling bad, you know that you don't want it because you have a guidance system. It's telling you every moment of every day for eternity where you are in relationship to your source about the thoughts of any subject, any topic. And so for you to start realizing, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop thinking about the things that I don't want, and I'm just going to think about the things that I want. So I have a call with a vendor this afternoon, and this vendor was saying, oh, they're not, getting leads and a bunch of things. And all of a sudden I caught myself. I realized, oh, I'm in the middle of thinking about what I don't want in the current circumstances, that I think about what will be. So I said to myself, this afternoon when I talk to that person, we're going to have just a fantastic conversation. We're going to have good communication together, that we're going to work together. We're going to build each other's businesses, and it's just going to be wonderful. And so because I said that on what I want, that's what I'm going to get. And that's what's happening to you guys now. And again, the good news is you're on here now for the second time, and I know how this works, that this is starting to get to you, and you're just going to love your life more and more now, and it's going to get better and better, I promise you. So fun times ahead, and what I want to do is go through our agenda. And so understand, you are the creator of your own experience. There's nobody against you. There's nothing, no force against you. There's only well-being. But for you to think about what you want, it's the easy shortcut, things that please you, that will help you to have the experience that you want. So you are the leading edge creator now, as you're starting to understand, wow, I can call it the way I want it. So today we're going to talk about understanding ourselves and others. And specifically, we're going to talk about the 4 behaviors and the 6 motivations of you as what I call energy beings, vibrational beings, that we're all energy. And again, in the last 5 years, science has proven everything that I'm sharing with you. But even before that, probably all of us were brought up and, learn that, like, if you look at your hand right now, that's not a hard physical hand. That actually is all kinds of atoms with more space in between those atoms than there are atoms. And so sometimes what we see really isn't what it appears. And the fact is that that's all energy. So we're energy beings, and we can manage the energy that creates worlds, literally the energy that creates worlds that you can tap into through your thoughts. And so that's how powerful you are, and why some people have done just amazing things in this world is because they were focused on their goal, on what they want to do. Like my goal, what I'm focused on, is to help people become deliberate, intentional creators, deliberate creators, and you're part of all that. And it just, makes my heart sing, and I'm so happy for you that you're with me. And so again, today we're going to look at understanding ourselves and others. And most of you that are on the line right now have completed your assessment. And that, by the way, normally retails each one for $300. So it's like a $600 assessment that is yours as part of this process. And so if you haven't done it, that's okay. Just go ahead and complete it. I sent you the information, but most of you have completed it. And most of you that I've heard, from those of you that I've talked to about it, that you've really been amazed at how accurate these assessments are. And so I'm going to share with you some information about us as these vibrational energy beings that's going to help you to open up the shade of communication and more effectively communicate and build deep and meaningful relationships, not only with your prospects to get them to say yes, not only with your clients to go to closing with, but also with all the people that you meet, with your loved ones that you have, with your family, that you have the power in order to develop deep and meaningful relationships and harmonious relationships. Remember, we can call forth through people our alpha to the omega, and we can call forth anything from those people. And let me give you one example on how this information is going to help you. Then I have another inner circle person that I coach with, and he's actually in the mortgage industry, and he and his wife have been separated for actually a couple of years, and they see each other regularly, but they've been separated. And so he starts telling me about her and about how, she's a businesswoman, and she's real tough and runs this big business, and I just do what she says. And so he had this terrible story about her. I mean, I wouldn't be in love with her either, and I'm for sure she wouldn't be in love with him after what he said about her. And so I suggested he change his story, and I want all of you to think about changing the story about you. What is your story? That you are brilliant, that you can have it the way you want it, that you can create your own experience. That's who you're awakening to on just how magnificent you are. But also I want you to change the story, especially on the people that are pushing your buttons or are irritable to you, that you have the power to overcome all of that stuff that you're seeing, because in essence, there's something within you that's calling forth that into your experience. So all you need to do is start thinking good thoughts about that person on the way you want them. So in my example with one of the people that I coach with, that he started looking at his separated wife, if you will, differently. And he started seeing all of her good attributes and how kind she was and understanding she was. And he even made up some attributes which he really hadn't even seen. But remember, everybody's alpha to the omega. They all have within each person is this loving, beautiful person or this not loving, beautiful person. And every subject has two sides to it. It's either having what you want or the lack of what you want. And so is it this beautiful, wonderful, spouse, or is it the lack of a beautiful, wonderful spouse and, not being cooperative and not being loving, etc. So I just shared with him 2 weeks ago that I wanted to have him start to write a new story about her, and just think about that, and that's what you want to see in her. And yesterday, when he came in, he shares again with our inner circle. He shares with us that he has never had a better relationship with his separated wife than he has right now. And it's amazing how she changed. And again, I had to remind him who changed, and it's he changed. So I want you to think if there's anybody that's troubling you, because I'm sharing with you that people that are troubling to you, that what you do is you start attracting more troubling people. And so you want to rise above any circumstances, any conditions, any person, and really rise above them. So if you're having a challenge right now with a client, and by the way, I'm sourcing this, so I'm channeling this. So some of you on the phone, this is applicable to that because I'm being told to share this. And so, one of the things is that, hey, you have a client or a prospect that isn't being very agreeable with you. And it's up to you to think differently about them. And so think about that client as being motivated, as being friendly, as liking you, and you'll see them literally change overnight. In fact, you don't even need it overnight. You can change them right now if you change the way you think about them. You also have some family members that and friends that maybe you want to change your story about, because what you want to do is eliminate all the things that are troubling for you so that you can rise up and be at one with your source. And so this will all help you to do that. So let us go with our agenda. We're going to look at the 4 behaviors. And importantly, we're going to look at how to identify the 4 behaviors. Hippocrates had identified in 300 BC that there were 4 primary behaviors of mankind. Well, at that time, most everybody was farmers. And they really didn't care. And now we're all about relationships. And so this information is going to be very valuable so that you can, number 1, identify the person's behavior, and by identifying it, then modifying your behavior so you can raise the curtain of communication with others. We're also going to just briefly go into, but your assessment has all the detail of it, on the 6 motivations and how to speak people's language. There are 6 ways that people are motivated to make decisions. So the top 2 of those motivations, whatever that person is, on the top 2 motivations that that person is, that's how they make decisions. Can you imagine when you are able to start identifying what's motivating this person, on how you understand how they make decisions, and that you can then start talking their language so that they can make the decision in the favor of what you want? And so, again, you'll start seeing that this is just incredible on how you're going to be able to start opening up these curtains of communication, as well as speaking the language of other people. We'll also review our high payoff activities. So there are low payoff activities, and those are in the red zone, and there are high payoff activities in the green zone. And remember, the green zone is where I'm thinking about what I want, and I'm doing it deliberately, and I'm doing it before I'm in the experience. I pre-pave it. And so your high payoff activities, the first high payoff activity that I know, and the mother of all creation, is a joy shop. For you to be intentional and deliberate, to start identifying the things that you do want, the things that you do appreciate, that you are blessed with, that you are grateful for, and then start pre-paving the way that you want your day. And then we're going to go back to the ideal referral partnerships. And remember that referral partners are the easiest, least expensive, most effective, and best way in order to build $1 million business. And so, like, virtually all of the people that I coach that they're not making 20 phone calls a day, and they're not, paying for a bunch of stuff on the internet, whatever, that they're attracting ideal referrals of partners in order to attract those ideal clients into their experience. And it's a way for you to build $1 million business. And again, for some of you, you already have $1 million business, so great, multi-million-dollar business. Or to make it even softer is to be able to serve more people. You each have just an unbelievable expertise with all of your experience and everything where you are, that you're at the perfect spot right now in this place and time in order to create this dynamic business where you can serve people, and that with your uniqueness and who you are, that you're going to be able to do that. So this is just all good news, your good news. And so let us begin. We are going to start out with, I'll just show you a little key on what it is. We're going to talk about the 4 different behavior styles and identify the behavior style. We're then going to identify the different characteristics of that behavior style, and then we're going to look at what they're good at. What are these different behavior styles? What are some of the things that they're good at? What percent of population? So you're actually going to understand how often are you going to probably meet these type of people, and then how you modify your behavior. So the most important thing is, number 1, to identify the behavior, and then number 2, how to modify your behavior. So what I would recommend you do is you write this down. And remember, the best way for you to focus your thoughts, and your thoughts create your experience, the best way to focus your thoughts is to write it down. So what I would suggest you do is get out a piece of paper, put a small plus mark in the middle of the paper, and at the top on the north side, put D as in dog, and then on the right side, on that plus mark, on the east side, if you will, put I for influencer, and then on the south side, put S for steady, for south, and then on the west side, put C as in cat. And then we're going to look, those are the acronyms. So the acronym is very easy. It's the 4 DISC behavior styles. So at the top of the page, I want you to write the 4 D period, capital D period, I period, S period, C period. And these are the 4 different behavior styles. You'll find that this is very easy to get. There's a lot of different behaviors out there. This is by the world's most statistically accurate and valid process, diagnosis in order to identify your behaviors as well as your motivations. In fact, most people don't even know about, or there aren't. I don't think there's any other tool in the world out there that measures the motivation. So what you're getting is like fresh, easy, and will provide many benefits for you. So we're going to start at the top with the D. And so the D is for driver/dominant. So I'd like you to write that down. D is for driver/dominant. And they like to control, and they like to do a lot of telling. Now, I want you to personalize this and think about, who do you know that's really dominant and likes to control and and does a lot of telling and does a lot of driving? Now, you might be thinking a different word that maybe starts with a B, as in boy. But the fact is that this also, through the ages, we've been told not to judge and not to judge others. And so this will help us to recognize that this is just who these people are. And so what I'm sharing with you is the pure behavior style. Now, know that all of us are really high one behavior style, pretty high another behavior style, and then 2 behavior styles we're not high in at all. That what I don't want you to do is say, oh, I want to be a D or I want to be an I. No. You want to be who you are. You were given some God-given behaviors that is the way for you to be most effective. But you should be aware of these 4 different behavior styles so that you can more effectively open up the communication shade that they have. Everybody has a shade that they either draw down or they raise up. And so I want you to raise up that shade with others. So what are they good at? D's, drivers, what are they good at? And you maybe want to put a few names in there, on just some names to relate to. Oh, yeah, that person's a real high D. and it might be your name. And so some of you that have done it and know that, oh yeah, I'm a real ID, and you have already recognized who you are. Well, one of the things that these people are really good at is they're good at decision making. So you can write down decision making. And so what I said there, if I had a whole bunch of D's in the room right now, that the D's would say, yeah, I make right decisions, but that's not what I said. I said they make decisions. They're good at decision making. So they'll make a quick decision, which means if you run into or you attract a D into your experience as a prospect, a client, that they're going to make a very, very quick decisions, which means you need to be and see, first of all, 18%. So write down 18% of the populations are Ds. So about 20%, okay, 1 out of 5 people that you're going to meet, they're going to be real strong in D. And when you talk to these people, it is critical for you to open up their shade of communication, that with D's, you be in number 5 there, be efficient. So you want to be efficient and right to the point. And so let's see, who do we have? A real high D. Oh, yeah. So Dawn, you're a very high D, and she's actually 100% D, and so she can relate to all this. But if I'm talking with D, I'm going to be very efficient. I mean, when I'm talking with Dawn, then I'm going to be very efficient, and talking to any D, I'm going to be very efficient. So, for example, that if Dawn comes to me and says, "Hey, how you doing?" That I don't say, "Well, I woke up this morning on the right side of the bed, feeling great, did a joy shop, feeling like $1,000,000, feeling on top of the world." She doesn't want to hear all that, okay? She just wants to hear, "Hey, I'm feeling great," and then move on. And so when you're presenting to a D, you want to make it very crisp, very to the point. And here's the house, whatever you're offering, if you will. But, here's the house. Here's how many square feet. How much is it? Do you have any questions? And so you want to be very efficient, and that'll raise the curtain of the D. And just so you know, if you're talking, if you're a D and you're talking with the D, someone has to give up control, and so it should be you, especially when they're the client. So that's the D. And again, you can comment if you have any questions about it. You can just type in questions. But now we're going to move to the I. And the I is for influencer. And the influencer is very outgoing, and they do a lot of telling. So think about someone who is real outgoing, does a lot of telling with me, that basically talks a lot. And so again, I'd like you to write down that person's name or persons that you know. And for some of you, it's you. And what a blessing that is, because if you notice, number 3, what I's are really good at is influencing people. And so again, you can be any way that you want to be here, but that you can be successful, you can influence people with whatever behavior. But the natural behavior style for an I is to be able to influence them. And of course, that's one of the keys that we want to be able to do is influence people. 28% of the population are I's. And so how do I want to be with an I? Is I want to be stimulating. And so what does that mean? So let me pick up Dr. Jacqueline we have that is one of our participants. And so she's a real high I. So with Dr. J, I'll call her, that she, because she's a high I, that when she says, "Hey, how you doing?" I say, "I'm doing great," and I lift it up, I bump it up a little. I'm a little bit more stimulating because she likes that. And then also another key with an I is to let them talk. I was at a party the other day, and there were a couple of groups, and I could tell which the I's were. Like, I'm always thinking, right now, I'm talking about 100 words per minute. Your minds are going 400 words per minute. And so what are you doing with the extra time? Most of us aren't even in the room. And if that's the case for you, I want you back in the room and listen to this. This is valuable information that you'll see just will light up people's lives, and you'll build deeper, more meaningful relationships. So no multitasking, staying focused on this. And so I'm in this room, and I can identify which ones are the eyes, because they typically are doing a lot of hand language, whatever. And I see this one, and this one eye comes up to me and starts talking to me and says, "Hey, it's so nice to meet you, Dr. Hank. I've heard a lot about you," and talks and talks and talks. And I bet talked for like 7 minutes to me. And I had said, the only thing I had said was, "I'm doing great." And talked 7 minutes. Then he goes, "Hey, listen, I got to get back to this group." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "Listen, you are just an awesome guy." And here I only said like 2 or 3 words, but that is opening up the shade of communication on that. I was stimulating, "Hey, I'm doing great." And that person, I allowed that person to do the talking. Eyes typically have a tendency in wanting to do a lot of talking. And I jest in this, but like if you're in a hurry and you see an eye walking down the hall, make a quick left. And I'm just teasing about that. Again, eyes are amazing, and they can influence people. And most of you have some eye in you, by the way. And now we're going to go to the S. And the S is for steady. And the steady is they're great team players, and they don't like to rock the boat. Everything's okay. We really don't need to make any changes. We don't need to even move. We're happy where we are. And so these people, their expertise is that they have a very even pace. And did you notice on how I've slowed it up? I toned it down, because that's how the S likes it. So if you're an I, that would rub the S a little not in such a good way. And so you want to, when there are S's, you want to slow it down. You want to quiet it down. And it usually takes S's a while to trust you, but once they trust you, they'll trust you for a lifetime. So because of that you should be very aware of S's, because 40% of the population are S's. So I know that those have been the clients that have sometimes been very challenging for you, that it took them a while to make up their mind. They're, not making quick decisions at all. And it can drive you nuts. And so with an S, when they're a client of yours or a prospect, that it basically is, you're at A, you want to get to B with them to sign the contract. Let's say it's a listing presentation. You want them to sign the contract, that you're going to have to take it slow and easy, and maybe not even have them sign it on the first call, that you got to kind of read them on where they are. Because if you push them, that they'll close their shaded communication, and you will never get that contract signed. So you want to really start to embrace on how, yes, I want to, with S's, since I'm going to meet a lot of them. And by the way, this isn't male or female. This male, female this is the percentage of population. So it's not most males are D's or whatever. And so with this S, how do I need to be with them? I need to be agreeable. So what does that mean? Don't say no. When you say no, subconsciously, they're not even aware of it. They're going to pull down their shade of communication with you, and they're not going to like you per se, and they're not going to really know why or whatever, but they're not going to relate very well. So you don't say no, and you don't say but. You don't say, "Oh, that's a great idea, but here's how we should do it." Well, once you put the word but in there, that really nixes out that was a great idea. And so what you want to do is you want to say the word and. And so be agreeable. and then say things like, that's a wonderful idea. And have you considered that if we sign the contract today, that we'd be in a better position in order to sell your home at a better price right now so that I can get working on it, whatever. And so this is a way on the S to really be aware of the S and the 40%. Again, I know all of you have ran into the S. I'd like you to write down who are S's. And by the way, a lot of you have S in you. In fact, most real estate agents that I meet with are IS or SIs. And so, and why is that? Well, see, the S, you can relate to 40% of the population. And then if you add the I in there, that's 68% of the population. And then the I's are outgoing. They can influence people. So you're getting along with the majority of the population. And you like to be out there. You like meeting people with that I. And again, that's why most real estate agents are SIs or ISs. And then finally, we're going to go to the C. And the C is for conscientious and or compliant. And these people are very focused on facts and data, rules and regulations. So a high C says rules are made to be followed. And a medium C says rules are nice guidelines. And a low C says rules are made to be broken. And so some of you are very low C's, and so you're kind of that way, that, hey, rules are meant to be broken. Now, only 14% of the population is this way, so, odds are, if you will, that you're not going to run into too many C's, but you will, and you'd like to have 14% instead of saying no, say yes to you. And so how do you do that? Is you be accurate. And so notice the I is across from the C. That's because typically the I and the C don't get along very well. The reason why is the I is saying, hey, we can do anything faster than anybody else. And the C is saying, quit all the BS and just give me the facts. And so that's where we have on how to be with them. You want to be accurate. So C's will ask questions like, how many feet away is the fire hydrant from the front door? And if you're not a C, or even if you are, you probably don't know. And so just tell them that. You want to be accurate and just say, hey, I'll find out how many feet that hydrant is or whatever. And again, for some of you, it can drive you nuts, especially if you're an I, that you're going, oh, they're so picky and meticulous, that what you want to do is allow them to be who they are and then to treat them with this being accurate with them. Now, also, speaking of the opposing sides that look at the D and the S, that Ds typically don't get along very well with S's. And so the D is saying, hurry up, let's go. And the S is saying, hey, it's okay that we have plenty of time. We don't need to hurry up at all. In fact, we don't even maybe have to do anything at all. And the D is saying, hurry up. The S is saying that. So the D and the S can butt heads. And so again, for you to just be able to, because you're only speaking 100 words per minute, you identify what behavior style they are, and then you modify your behavior style so you can more effectively communicate with them. Now, as you're writing this down, I'd like you to put a line between the D and the I and write down extroverted. So this is a helpful tip on how do I figure out what behavior. Usually within 30 seconds, you're going to be able to identify their behavior and then modify your behavior so you can more effectively open up that shade of communication. That's how amazing this process is, and it's real easy. It's just the DISC. Well, the D and the I, they're extroverted. The I and the S, that they're mainly concerned with relationships. Okay, and I'll give you an example later on how concerned with relationships, but they're very concerned with relationships versus like tasks on what need to be done. A line between the C and the S, and those people are mainly introverted. that what they're not as outgoing, the S and the C, and so they're more introverted, and so they're a little bit more difficult to read because they're not expressing themselves outwardly as much as an I and D, but once you pick up that they're introverted, the odds are they're an S, right? Because it's 40% of the population. And so I want to be agreeable. And if I'm not real sure, then I want to be agreeable and I want to be accurate just in case they're a C. And then finally, the D and the C, these people are concerned with tasks. Now, when I was at this point, I was working with an IBM executive, a lady, and she started to cry. And I said, listen, this information is good, but it's not that good. And she said, no, well, what it is she recognized before reading her profile or anything, she recognized that she was an IS, but she had been married for like 13 years to her husband, who's a DC. And the reason why she was crying is because she realizes for 13 years, she had been trying to change this guy to warm and fuzzy. Well, a DC is never going to be warm and fuzzy. They're mainly concerned with tasks. And so as I'm helping you to be in a state of allowing and allowing your well-being to go, it includes allowing other people to be who they are, and it includes allowing yourself to be who you are and to be your real self. And I'm going to show you some graphs here that are going to show you your real self, then how you modify yourself, and for most of you, that you don't actually behave in a way that is aligned with who you are. So you want to start allowing people to be who they are. DCs, they're just concerned with tasks. So I asked this IBM executive, I said, can you give me an example on where, how the dynamics of your husband, work? And she goes, well, if we go on a trip, that she's thinking about the relationships, right? So she's thinking about, hey, the kids, are their friends going to come? Are the in-laws coming? All of that kind of stuff with the people. And she goes, and my husband, all he's talking about is when do we leave, where are we staying, and when do we get back? And so she always thought like he was trying to be macho or something. The fact is, it was just a DC. So I want you to embrace this with the other relationships that you're in and identify who are you, and then to be able to look at, wow, this is who I am, and then I want to ease up on myself a little here and honor myself for who I am, and then honor other people for who they are. And then most importantly is to modify my behavior with these 4 behaviors. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of there. And if you have your profile with you, I'd like you to jump into that profile, and I'll let you know when, or you can see on my screen when we go back to the PowerPoint. But on the 3rd page in, it's actually the 4th page, but on the bottom it says page 3. And it doesn't count the first page. And so this is, I'm using Stacy, and there are sales characteristics. So if you're there, just read the first paragraph. But if you want to look at, how would you want to review this profile, that this is where you would basically start. And you will see the stunning similarity that it has with you and who you are. I've had some people try to fight with me, and I was with the upper management of John Deere, and we had about 50 people in the room. And one guy, when we handed out his profile, he read this part of it, and he said, "This isn't me at all." And I said, really? Well, you've known these people for 10, 20, some even 30 years. That would you be willing just to read the first paragraph to see what they think if this is like you or not. So he says, sure, I'll read it. So he reads the first paragraph, and everybody in the room says, that's exactly like you. And so just know that this is very accurate, and so there are some things in here that you might not be so fond of, but I want you to, again, be with an open mind and a warm heart, and just to read this and recognize on who you are. But for the most part, you're going to just absolutely love this profile. So those are the sales characteristics, and I'm assuming if you are at your profile that you're here with me. And then I want to point out a couple things. So we'll just kind of go down and through this. And on page 6 here, so again, it says page 5, but if you scroll down, it's page 5 on the bottom, but if you notice the PowerPoint, it says at the top here, it says 6. And so, but look at this. These are the main keys in selling. And so it starts with prospecting. Now, adapted and natural. Adapted means how does this person, in this case Stacy, how does Stacy adapt her personality? Okay, but who is she really? So you can see with prospecting, naturally, she's a 7.25. If you're over 5.0, you're really strong in those areas. So with Stacy, and by the way, this Stacy, she sells about 5-6 homes a month. And so look at this, though, that this is basically the 6 steps to how to of the sales process. And so, and again, it doesn't matter where you fall on this. You just want to know where you are on this and then be thinking of. And so there's 4 ways to be able to, you can delegate some things. So let's say you're not very strong in prospecting. Maybe you want somebody else to prospect, whether it's another company to prospect, another agent to prospect, whatever. But here it is, prospecting, your first impression on how, and so I just help you on with your behavior, modifying your behavior in order to give a great first impression, qualifying them, demonstrating then to them, and so you qualify, hey, do you where are you, what's your credit score, have you been pre-approved, whatever, that demonstrate, share a little about you, whatever, what you can do for them, what you've done recently, and let's say it's a listing, how much more you've sold it over market price or whatever. Influence that, what type of influence are you now, and then importantly, what kind of influence are you in closing them? Okay, and D's, by the way, typically are very good at closing, because like the S's are more concerned about people and more team players, and so they feel it's offensive to ask for the business. But believe me, it isn't. And again, I can help you with all this in order to be more effective in all of these areas. And so then just going through there's potential strengths and obstacles that you have. And again, I'm going to kind of blow through some of this just so you know. Value to the organization. So if you are in an organization, to know, what value you are. Checklist for communicating. Now, this is great if you're working with other people and like other agents or your broker, whatever. But this is a great way. This is how you like to be communicated with. And so you could actually print this out and put little check marks by the best ways that you want other people that maybe aren't doing it very well to start doing it. Then we go to selling tips. And so this page is just a generic page on when selling to a person who is dependent, neat, conservative. That's a C. When selling to a person who's ambitious, forceful, decisive, that's a D. When selling to a person who is patient, predictable, reliable, who is that? That's an S. So this information, this literally shows you on how to be able to sell. It's a sales profile on how to be able to sell. And we're all selling. So I like to use the word offering. We're all offering, our services, our expertise, and typically we get money back from that, or we get happiness back from that, or whatever. And so that's all good. And then the bottom right, when selling to a person who's magnetic, enthusiastic, friendly, who is that? That's the I. And again, most of you have a lot of I in you. The environment that you like. The perceptions that you have, and this one is like your self-perception, if you're, how you see yourself. But then if you're under some pressure, how you see yourself. And then if you're under extreme pressure, how you see yourself. And so usually that last box, people look like, oh my gosh, I have been called that by my spouse, and here I didn't think I was. But the fact is that, there it is in black and white, if you will, on it. So it just helps you to understand yourself better. Here's the DISC in a different format. The colored areas show where you're high. So like in this case, the influencer. Notice that, by the way, this person's an IS. See, they're real high. Their I goes up to persuasive. And then they're steady. They're very predictable, consistent. And so they're relating to a lot of the population. And again, most of you are ISs. And so it can make the path easier. But again, it doesn't matter what behavior style you are. Knowing this information is all you need in order to be really effective. And so there's natural and adapted, and I'll get into that a little bit later here. And then keys to motivating. So now this is a great way that even with your spouse, you can share this. Hey, I get motivated when, you give me, like in Stacy's case, some independence. And so instead of this, you just making it up and trying to manipulate your hubby or whatever, then no, this is who I am. And I want to share with you, this is how I get motivated. This is how I get fired up. So it's kind of a laundry list where you may want to share with people you work with and whatever. These profiles, it's almost like cheating if you can do it on your prospects, because you know exactly who they are and how they get motivated. Keys to managing. Here's how I like to be managed. And again, you could even use this in your personal life. I have these 4 husband-wife, spouses, even for kids, to help them understand what they maybe want to do. And so there's a lot of uses for this, but for you, is in order to be able to more effectively communicate and help people understand their needs, and then serve those people. And then it'll get into some key areas. So it might be some time wasters you have, open door policy. Maybe you have a hard time on doing that, and you just let everybody in all the time. Inability to say no, that's a big one. And so just know that there's a lot of different things that we can go through here. And but there's an action plan. And so this process, now you read through this, and you can actually develop an action plan in your professional development on how to be more effective, as well as in your personal development. And so it can be both about this assessment along with what we've been talking about on how you becoming this deliberate creator, and now you understand people better than most people understand themselves. And then here's behaviors broken down into 12 different parts. And then this graph. Now, this graph I want to take a minute on to share with you. So notice at the top, on the top right, is who you really are. So the right side is who you are. Okay, really are. In this case, see the 50% line. That means if you're over that, that means you're dominant in that behavior. And typically you can relate easier to whoever is in that behavior. In this case, this person, Stacy, is an IS. Notice, though, that she turns into an SI. This is how she adopts her behavior out in the world. So if you're looking at yours right now, or when you have it, that remember the right is who you really are. Now look at the percentages on the bottom. That what you do is you subtract the D from the D. So in this case, 41 to 45 minus 41, and that's a difference of 4 points. If there's a difference of 10 points or more, this is causing stress for you. And so in this case, that Stacy takes her I from 74. Remember, you just subtract the DD, and then you subtract the I from the I, the S from the S, doesn't matter which way, and then the C from the C. And you can see here that she actually decreases her I by by 11 points, which means it's creating some stress. So if you want to write down on the 4 ways in order to help you get back to who you really are, it's called DESC. So not DISC, DESC. The D is for delegate. So delegate some things. See, in her case, in this case right now, that that with her, now I'll tell you, for many of you, that you decrease in your left graph your S, and that means you're going too fast. You're going at too fast of a pace. Remember, a higher S, a slower pace. So if you drop the S, it's a faster pace. So a lot of you are going at too fast of a pace. And so back to DESC, D is to delegate. Maybe you want to delegate some of the portions of the work, maybe the prospecting. Maybe you want to just sit more and think about what you want and attract it into your life, that instead of doing. The true creation, you creating, 99% of it is in your mind and then feelings, and only 1% doing. Some people say to me, what do you want me to do? Just sit around and think all the time? Yeah, pretty much so. Sit around and feel good. Think good feeling thoughts. And so that's how to get it done. So for those of you that do have some stress, so I want you to slow it down a little. And meditation is a great way to slow it down, but for all of us, in order to do allowing as well. So there are the graphs, and if you have any questions about that, but the DESE, D is for delegate, E is for eliminate. Okay, so eliminate some of the things in your life. S is for simplify. Simplify some things in your life. And for any of these where you have stress in anywhere, if you delegate, eliminate, simplify, and then C is communicate. Communicate it with other people. I would show this to your loved ones and show them, your whole profile, and share with them on maybe where you're getting a little stress and ask for their help. Okay, and so that's the communication, the C on the DESC. And then the final thing is, now there's a wheel here, and what the wheel does is basically show you how much in alignment you are with your real self. So that star is how you adapt yourself, and then the circle is your natural self, and it's just another way to look at the graphs, but in this circle. So that is the 4 behaviors of mankind. The D, the driver, and you just want to make sure you're efficient with them. The I, the influencer, you want to be stimulating. The S, the steady, you want to be agreeable. And the C, the conscientious, and you want to be accurate. That by knowing that and using the extra time you have with your fast-moving minds to be able to identify the behavior style, modify your behavior style, you're going to be amazed at the type of relationships that you can build, deeper, more meaningful relationships, to include your spouse who's been with you for 28 years. That it really helps clarify some things. And again, if you want your spouse to take this or a loved one, whatever, that you can contact me, and I'll, instead of $300, you can have it for like $97 if you have an interest for that. So now I'm going to switch gears on us. And we're going to go from the behavior styles and talk briefly about the motivators. So there are 6 motivators of mankind. And on these 6 motivations and I'm going to actually go to a graph here so that you can better understand on how they are. So here the 6 are. Now notice that blue line there, and so that blue line above the THE is for theoretical. Well, these are the percent of population that make decisions based on this motivation. So I'm going to go in order of how people on average now make decisions. So this is going to be incredible information. You can start changing your marketing based on who you are on what you've been talking your language to people that maybe you haven't been talking the language of them. So the first one is utilitarian, which means return on investment. The highest one out of all of these is utilitarian. So if you're real low, and let's say you're down here, you're not talking return on investment. So what kind of return on investment? Wow, I can list your house and get more than what the average house is going over and above what the list price is. Or if it's buying the house, I can find you the ideal, perfect house for you, and I can do that at a cost savings, and here's the savings where we've been able to do under list or whatever it is. But this ROI is critical to be able to share with people, because most people are going to make a decision based on the ROI. The second one is theoretical. So this one, this first bar here, is theoretical. And theoretical means the love of knowledge. So you want to be knowledgeable. So I don't care if you're a brand new real estate agent, it doesn't matter, that you can be knowledgeable by saying, I don't know, and going and finding the answer. And so that they'll respect and honor. But for you, in any way that you can, in order to have as much knowledge about like the client, what they're looking for, the neighborhood they're interested in, and so to invest some time. And I don't know what that means, an hour, 2 hours, but invest time. Just don't go running out the door to show them a place, because people want to have knowledge. They want to know about the community. They want to know about the school or whatever it is. So they're going to make decisions. They're going to sign contracts with you. They're going to close business with you based on primarily if you show them a return on investment and that you have knowledge or can get a hold of it, okay, have a computer with you or an iPad or whatever. And then the third one is social. And what social is, helping other people. So if you're low social, it doesn't mean you don't want to help other people. You just don't make decisions based on helping other people. Well, like this person, for example, is very high social and wants to help other people. So that person, Stacy, will be talking to the people about, oh, this is going to be so wonderful. You know, your neighbors are going to love you and everything. And if they're only utilitarian and they mainly just care about the return on investment, they could give a hoot about the neighbors. But you're talking about the neighbors and how well and how they're going to like it and everything, and you know, they just don't care about it. So for you to realize that, wow, I need to be in tune with the top ways that people make decisions. And again, this, none of you have heard this before, and I don't know, there's like 72 people in the world that even teach this, and you're getting this information, and it's spot on. Again, it's diagnostically the world's most reliable and accurate diagnostic tool. And so those are the three biggies. Now, there are three others, and so you can see here, individualistic, and those people, they want to be number one, okay? And again, I wouldn't be as interested, I don't want you to have, you know, too much information today to overload you. Just be easy on yourself. And the main thing is utilitarian, a return on investment. People are going to buy and sign your contracts based on return on investment, the knowledge, and then helping other people. And so that's how they do it. Now, individual, meaning they want to be number one. So those people would want to have the biggest house in the neighborhood. So if you tell people, oh, you don't want to have the biggest house in the neighborhood because you won't get your value out of it, you're doing them a disservice and not talking their language. Because if they say, I want that one, the biggest house in the neighborhood, it just means they're individualistic. And they want to be the best, and so they want the biggest house. And bless them, don't judge it, and allow them to be who they are. Sometimes we have our own values that we put on other people that end up talking us out of a deal, and I'm sure most of you, if not all of us, can remember when we did that, Okay, and then another one is traditional, and that's just mainly an order to life, and so doesn't impact too much, other than like maybe people like older neighborhoods. There's an orderly way that it's not a brand new development with new schools and whatever. So they kind of like orderly ways, and then it's aesthetic is form and harmony, and again that is the lowest one and something you don't have to be very concerned with. If you're over 50 points, it means you think that this value is so critical that you think other people are crazy not having that value. And the fact is, everybody's getting along just fine, that you want to honor them and allow them to be who they are. And now you know how they make decisions. So what I would suggest you do is review your profile. We will, for right now, just get out of that and go to back to our screen. But amazing way for us to understand people and really starting to be able to build these deep and meaningful relationships. So the 6 motivators, these are how people make decisions, the language they speak, utilitarian, knowledge, helping others, individualistic, traditional, in order to life, and then aesthetic. Again, the main top 3 is how you want to speak to people typically, but be aware if they're saying, hey, I want the biggest house in the neighborhood, let them have the biggest house in the neighborhood. And for you to be able to have like your advertising, your website, that make sure your message is about the ROI and the knowledge and how you help others. So with that, we're going to switch gears again, and we're going to go to high payoff activities that most people, when I meet them, are engaged about 33% of their time, 1/3 of the time in high payoff activities, and 2/3 of their time in low payoff activities. One of the ways that I'm helping you in order to become your greatest possibility and have a thriving business, you just start attracting. You start in your Joy apps, start saying, hey, I'm going to attract listings. I'm going to attract ideal clients. I'm going to attract ideal referral partners, and they're going to come calling to you. And then what do I want? And so you can ask your source, what do I want? And your source is going to start leading you to the thoughts, people, circumstances, and events to give you everything you want and that you're asking for. And one of the things you want is, I want to be focused today on my high payoff activities, which are the things that I want. So I'm going to share with you, and I would suggest you write these down, what your high payoff activities are. And so the first one is to prepave your day, your week, your month, and your life. This includes the all-important Joy Shop. If you don't plan your life, someone else will. In fact, with my coaching, I have a whole time management system that saves people at least 3 weeks a year. You're going to get into some of that time management. I'm going to show you in a couple of weeks on some time management ways to have the best September of your life. September 2014 is only going to come once, and I'm going to show you how to have it the best. But we're starting already on that for you to know that, wow, I want to be focused in on my high payoff activities. So every day you want to do this. If you want to include things like meditation, do so. A nap is just awesome, especially if you're upset. The best thing to do, go take a nap, and you'll reduce your resistance. It's just a resistant thought that keeps us from the things that we want. And so we want allowing thoughts. And so allowing is by prepaving the way we want it, by our Joy Shop, through meditation, etc. Action step number 2, high payoff activity number 2, is you want to meet with your ideal referral partners. Now, this is your professional high payoff activities. Your personal high payoff activities are, things like that. I want to have quality time and investment with my family members. I want to take care of my health. I want to do healthy things. Those are high payoff in your personal life, but in your professional life, number one is personal and professional. Number two is absolutely the magic bullet on how to increase your business with ideal referral partners. And we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of our session today. Then to meet with those, you get referrals, and so I just had someone, a referral partner. So I'm sharing with you that referral partners are right under your nose. They're there right for you. And I'll give you an example. I'm coaching with a person. She's been struggling with her business. And I said, but what about your ideal referral? Oh, I don't know anybody. So I started talking to her, and I said, do you go to church on Sunday? Yeah, I go to church on Sunday. Wow. Well, why don't you let people know that you're a real estate agent, in church, and the people you know. So one thing leads to the next thing, to where they have their own little radio station. So she's advertising on this radio station. And she had, out of the 5 closings she had last month, 3 of them came from the radio station and her church, the referral partner. So your referral partner is everywhere, right under your nose, whether it's church, the person that does your hair, that we already have one of our participants that went to the person that does their hair and went to them, your CPA, your attorney, that your spouse, that I'm telling you, they're right there with you, that have people that they know. And so you just know that, oh yeah, that they're there. I'm asking now for my ideal referral partner to come to me. But those ideal referral partners will start giving you your ideal prospects that you turn into ideal clients. And so when you do that by understanding their behaviors, by understanding on how they're motivated, and that you're going to be talking return on investment. You're going to be talking about the knowledge that you have about what they are interested in, and the home they're interested in, or the business that you're involved in, whatever the case may be. So it's other people that will help you to achieve all of your goals. So we need each other, and it's so great because as you're getting your goals achieved, you get their goals achieved. You have to understand that when you have clarity and you're with your source and are given what you want, that those things that you want actually help all people throughout the cycle of doing it. Do you know that you help, I don't know, it's scores of people that when you actually close a home. And so you help scores of families, not just the family you're working with. So there's this ripple effect that you're at. And so by you being clear of what you desire helps all people. As you thrive, the world thrives. On high payoff activity number 4, meet and follow up with your clients. And so again, this is a very easy way that if you just follow these and start looking at how much time, that I basically take people from their high payoff activities, investing only 33% of their time in that, to investing at least 66% of their time in that. And do you know what happens to their business? It more than doubles. And that's one of the reasons why this process is so effective, and not the reason, but one of the reasons. The reason is the way that you think and thinking about what you want. But these other tools, these are the clear thoughts that I have on how to be able to build a $1 million business and to have you have a thriving life and a thriving business. And these high payoff activities will deliver that to you. Woo-hoo. And then finally, you close. And so you close, you get money, you love money. Money equals freedom. And I would write that down. If money equals freedom, money means more choices, more variety. It helps other people. The more money you have, the more money you go and invest in the things that you want, the more jobs you create, the more that you help other people, other families. So money is good. You have been taught, most of us have been taught that money is not that good. It's the root of all evil. And that just isn't the case. It's none of that. It just gives money is, and what you do, your feelings with money typically are worry and doubt. And I want you to leave those feelings right now on worry and doubt and look at that. I am going to now feel good and excited about money and know that you do two things with money. You attract it and you create it. And so you create it, whether it's me in Russia finding $1,000 ruble bill in the Hermitage, or that you creating. I had someone tell me the other day, yeah, I asked at the ATM $40. I had asked for more money in my Joy Shop. I went to the ATM. I asked for $40. It came out. It was $60. And I counted. I looked at my receipt. It was 40. I called the bank and I said, I requested $40 out of the ATM and I was given 60. And the bank said, that's impossible. And so he said, okay. And he kept the extra $20. But literally, you can attract and create money any way that you want to. And there's many ways. And I want you to start opening up your mind about that. Yeah, money is good. It's freedom. And there's many ways for me to create and attract money. And that includes my real estate, but includes ATM, lottery, whatever you are open to and whatever you will allow into. It's all fun. And I want you to enjoy the ride. So now with referral partners, again, I'd like you to take a second here and just breathe in deeply and just relax. Just get relaxed and think about who is an ideal referral partner, who's well connected, who do I know, who likes me, what previous client do I have? Previous clients are great ones on that. Do you know only about, I think it's 12% of the people that they bought their house from use their same agent to then sell their house. And you just get out of their mind, and if you're not managing your database, you're for sure out of their mind, and they just go with someone else. And so the fact is, hey, keep in contact with those old clients see if they'll give you, if they know anybody they all know. And so, hey, I was wondering if you could help me. And remember that script of mine that, I was wondering if you can help me. Sure. How do you need some help? Well, I'm looking to help at least 3 families a month with their home needs, either buying or selling. And I know that, you know lots of people, and I know you're well connected and well respected, and I would love the opportunity to help your friends, the people that you know, the people that you work with their home needs, just like I did with you. And so do you have somebody? And they say, yeah, actually I was talking to Mary Lou the other day, and she was interested in selling her house. And well, great. Would you provide a personal introduction? So the name of the game is personal introduction. Would you provide me a personal introduction into Mary Lou? Sure. And then, well, that's great that, just let them know that I did your real estate, that I'm an experienced real estate agent, and that I would love to be helped in this way, and I would love to help them. And then ask your referral partner, so when can I call you back to see if it's okay to call Mary Lou? And so they say, hey, why don't you call me this Thursday? And you say, great, I'll call you tomorrow. And so you then call them back tomorrow, hey, did you talk to Mary Lou? And that holds them accountable. If they didn't, they will. And then that's when you, for sure, if you don't have it already, want their Mary Lou's name, full name and telephone number so you can call her. You then get out of the sales and selling, and instead you get to service people. You get to help people because they already trust you. You have this trusted referral partner. They trust that person. They're referring you. And because of that, they already trust you. And so it's just a great way of doing business. It's it just feels good, and it is good. And you can build $1 million business doing them. So contact them, ask if they'll help. Meet with them, share your ideal client with them as well. That, I'm looking for people in this neighborhood, or for homes over $300,000, or, I'm looking for people, if you want to get general, then, in my city, that, in our city here that, or maybe their neighborhood, that you want to penetrate their neighborhood, that, maybe you want to just be intentional and go to a community today and just say, this community, I'm going to be the queen of, or the queen, or the king of this community. And I had someone yesterday say, yeah, that I love that community. They're building new homes in it. They have homes. It's a huge community. It's 24 acres. And I'm going to be the queen of that. I'm going to be the queen of listings. I'm going to be the queen of selling them. That's what I'm going to do. And that's what she will do. And she's already $1 million agent. And those are the things for you to be intentional and really ask to expand your imagination, to expand your thoughts, your feelings, your senses, to be able to say, what do I want? And get clear on what you want, and then call it the way you want it, and then expect it to come your way. And then, again, with referral partnerships, you'd like to meet with them, your ideal referral partner, every 2 weeks. And that's every 2 weeks. And, take them, give them coffee, take them to lunch, but build that relationship, because you need to be impacting their mind. So this week, actually for this next 2 weeks, so we don't meet next week. We meet, the next time that we meet is September 10th. This gives you just a marvelous opportunity, this break, in order to go through, and I would suggest you go through our first webinar that I sent you an MP3 now. That was the attachment MP3, not in the MP3 of our webinar. But I'd like you to listen to Success Unit 1, and I'm going to be sending you Success Unit 2, and I'd like you to listen to it at least 6 times. It's only about 10 minutes long, but there's something magic in that teaching there that it just inspires people and really gets them to start thinking differently, but they have to hear it at least 6 times. And it'll give you new ideas. So I would suggest that you, first of all, listen to this webinar, that you can make the time. You make everything. You create it all. Make the time and listen to this again. There was a lot of valuable information. You have an extra week. I would suggest you listen to the first webinar as well. And we are just rolling. You'll see that this is going to start building on each other. And next week is going to be, or in 2 weeks, it's going to be about our beliefs, and that I'm going to share with you on how you're going to be able to let go of some beliefs that no longer serve you, and you're going to be able to be free of those beliefs and start having the beliefs of what you want, so that you can get what you want. And so this is just a life changer for you. And from beliefs that we go into prioritizing, how to prioritize your life, and from prioritizing your life, the crown jewel then is at the end, where you're going to understand your emotional path to everything that you want. So these are exciting times. Your success assignment, I'd like you to read your behavior and your motivational assessment. So it comes in one attachment. There's 2 assessments, the behavior as well as the motivational. And we just went through the behavior in just the first 2 pages of the motivational. I'd like you to listen to Success Unit 2 at least 6 times. Again, that's going to be an attached MP3 that I have for you. And then I'd like you to meet with at least one new, and really it should be, because you have 2 weeks, two new ideal referral partners, but just attract. And so I'd like you to attract an ideal referral partner, and I'd like you to attract a listing out of the blue in the next 2 weeks. You have the power to do that. With your thoughts, you have the power to guide the entire universe and yield to everything that you want. And it wants nothing more than to give you everything that you want, but you have to think about what you want. Remember about the oranges, that if I think about the yellow pretty sun on what I want, but then I think about the opposite of that, of the things I don't want, and not enough time and money or whatever that is, that I end up, and that's red. Well, that yellow and that red combines into oranges, and you say, I didn't ask for oranges, and I say, yes, you did, but no longer are you going to ask for oranges. You're going to just ask for the yellow of the things that you want. And why not have it that, you know what I want? If other people can do this, by golly, I can do this. I want a listing out of the blue. It just happened last Friday with one of us, that it can happen to you. And so you just know that in the next 2 weeks, you're going to have the best 2 weeks you ever had. You're going to attract more business, more happiness, and above all, you're going to feel good. So expect out of the blue things to happen for you. and then feel good every day, especially in your Joy Shop. It starts your day the way that you want it. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for being here, that you are on your path. You are on your way, your lighted path now. You are getting more and more clarity. If I can help you with anything, let me know. And this has just been a glorious time with you. I can feel your energy just rising, and that you're feeling on top of the world. And now go out and experience and create all the things that your dreams now come true. Love you all. Take care. Let me know. You're welcome, Dawn. Thank you. Love you, darling. Thanks for your goodbye message. And so you guys are great. And again, contact me if I can help you in any way. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.